they may spy on all of you because you're here today listening to me. That is how outrageous this damn piece of legislation is. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for a man who has faced so much. Kim.com.
Hello everybody. Thank you all for coming today. This is a very important day because all of you are about to lose an important part of your basic human rights. And we need to say no. We need to say stop this bill, John Key, because we want to fight for our rights to privacy. Now, one thing you all need to understand, and this is very important. The GCSB is a subsidiary of the NSA. It is spying for the Americans to feed information for the war on terror so that the illegal drone strikes can identify the targets and kill those people up from above. 400 innocent civilians have died since that campaign started, including 100 children, in clear breach of international law, and we as New Zealanders are participating in this crime. The NSA has offices inside the GCSB building and is directing a lot of the operations that are going on today. And when you were told that there are 88 New Zealanders that were spied on illegally, that is only the New Zealanders we know about because the police and the SIS has filed official warrants for these investigations. You have no idea how many surveillance cases there are that the GCSB has initiated by themselves.
Very true.
Hundreds, maybe thousands of cases where New Zealanders were spied on directly. And we need to have that independent inquiry to find out what exactly these guys did. You need to understand something. When they spied on me, they didn't spy on me because they suspected me of terrorism or because I'm a threat to national security. They spied on me because a handful of billionaires in Hollywood didn't like my business. I created a YouTube competitor, for God's sakes. Why would you spy on me? I have given tools to people that allowed them to save money and use the internet the way it's meant to be used today. Online, easy to use for everybody. And I get rated like I am a drug lord or I'm a terrorist, terrorizing my family and invading my privacy. And if they can do that to me, they can do that to any of you.
They are doing it. They are doing it.
This GCSB bill is a real threat. And it's not just a threat to us New Zealanders, because we are seeing a trend here. The US government is the most power-hungry government out there. What they are trying to do is to know everything about everyone and using that information to further their power, further their economic interests. And GCSB is one of the puppets on the strings of the US government. And the biggest puppet of them all is John Key, your Prime Minister. There was a poll on Campbell Live with 80%, 85% of viewers saying no to the GCSB bill. A day later, the Prime Minister gives interviews and said, I have the majority behind me. I mean, how disconnected from reality can you be?
He always says that.
He doesn't listen to the people. No one wants this bill. We are all against it because it makes no sense for us as a democracy to give these powerful tools to our governments. And I want to ask all of you for a favor, because I know someone is watching us right now from Russia. His name is Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden is a hero. It's because of him that we know about what's going on in the world today. And we need to support this guy, and we need to support any whistleblower who comes forward and his courage has inspired me. And I will never settle my case. I will fight until we know the truth, until we know every single detail. Thank you all very much for coming, and keep fighting this madness. Thank you.
Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is our first representative from a major political party. Please, a warm welcome to hear what he will do if he wins 2014, the leader of the Labour Party, Mr. David Shearer.
Hello everybody. Great to see so many people here on such an important issue. The Labour Party opposes this bill. And we will fight it through the House with all the energy that we have so that this bad law is not brought in. Your privacy, our privacy, is precious. This law does not balance off our security with the preciousness of our privacy. It is bad law. It is bad law, and we will replace it in 2014. I have said that we will have a full independent inquiry. We want an inquiry not just into the GCSB, but into the SIS and the police and our entire intelligence agencies and the way that they operate. This has not been done in New Zealand since 1976, when cell phones weren't even a glimmer in anybody's eye. That's how long it has been since we have had an independent inquiry into our intelligence agencies. And we've had a lot of people talk about what is wrong with this legislation. I've had to sit through many of the submitters, none of whose evidence has been included into this bill in any of the amendments. But I want to raise one issue. One issue. John Key, the Prime Minister, appoints the head of GCSB, his friend Ian Fletcher. His friend reports directly to him on all matters of the GCSB. John Key chairs the Parliamentary Oversight Committee that looks into the GCSB. He is the chair, he has the casting vote, he sets the agenda. John Key and the Prime Minister appoints the Commissioner of Warrants, the person who will sign the warrants off to spy on New Zealanders. He will also appoint the Inspector General of Intelligence, which will look into those issues as well. Can you see what the problem is with this particular piece of oversight?
Conflict of interest.
It is all concentrated in one place, and there is no country in the world that has that sort of oversight concentrated in one person. So my challenge to you and my suggestion to you is, if you think and you believe that your emails and personal communications are being listened to, I suggest you CC John Key. CC John Key. So instead of waiting for it to go through a middleman, CC john.key@parliament.govt.nz. In the meantime, the Labour Party will oppose and continue to fight on your behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. We will be holding you to account next year if you win. Don't you? Right, ladies and gentlemen. Right. The next speaker is from the Green Party, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Gareth Hughes.
Kia ora, namahi nui kia koutou, kia ora, Auckland, you're looking fantastic today. Look, I'm proud to be standing here with you today as Kiwis are standing all across this country of ours, standing up for human rights. We're standing up for our freedoms, and I guess it's no surprise, but the Greens are committed to voting against this bill, and we're committed to an independent, thorough review of our intelligence and security services. Hey, listening to Kim.com just then, I had a bit of a thought. Maybe Kim should change his name to Kim.co.nz. Because you know, this isn't an issue just about Kim.com. This is an issue for all of us, every single New Zealander. This isn't an issue of left or right or Labour or National Greens. This is an issue of right and wrong. It's an issue of our human rights and our freedoms. We've got to stand up for it. Let's not forget why these laws are going through this rush process right now is because John Key and the GCSB screwed up. They acted unlawfully. Screwing up and acting unlawfully shouldn't be an argument for rushing through and changing the laws. John Key and the government, they haven't made the case for this law. They haven't justified it. This is a bad law and it doesn't need to be going through a rushed process. Now, you don't have to ask Kim.com for that. You don't have to ask just the Greens or Labour. Ask the Privacy Commissioner, the Human Rights Commissioner, the New Zealand Law Society, and New Zealander of the Year Dame Anne Salmon. The changes we've seen coming out of the rushed select committee process are only cosmetic, and this law is only going to happen on the brought vote of Peter Dunn. Peter Dunn now is going to be going down in history as the man with his casting vote who sold our assets, and now he's the man who sold our laws and he sold our privacy. Got hope, because human rights, freedom, our democracy, we all have a vision for that. We all want our kids and our grandkids growing up in New Zealand where this is paramount. We can change the law. We will see an independent, thorough review. We need to keep it up. Good on all of you for being out here today and all across the country. Keep it up. Kia ora.
I'd like to invite Mana spokesperson John Minto to the stage. John Minto.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. From Mana's point of view, we're not just concerned about the two bills that are before Parliament at the moment, but since 2003 there's been at least a dozen pieces of legislation that have been passed that infringe on the civil rights of New Zealanders. All of those bills need not just review, they need to be repealed and start again. There's two reasons that we should oppose the GCSB bill, and in fact Mana would be calling for the closure of the GCSB. Let me give you two examples. The GCSB set up the Waihopai spy base in the late 1980s. Yes. And Dave Longy was the Prime Minister. Yes. And Dave Longy wrote in 10 years later, in the foreword to Nikki Hago's book, that he approved the Waihopai spy base being built, but he said he did not know what the Waihopai spy base did until he read Nikki Hagar's book. In other words, the GCSB does not see itself as accountable to the New Zealand government, to the Minister of Intelligence and Security. It sees its responsibility to the NSA in America. It is answering to the Americans, not to the people of New Zealand. You're involved in some sort of campaign against obesity and you're protesting against McDonald's. And police might say, well, this is a potential threat to the economic well-being of New Zealand. So they go to the GCSB and they say, we want the records of this person going back 10 years and all of the information that you have shared on, not just shared on the internet, every email you've sent, every phone call you've made, the tracking of that is all brought into the investigation of you. So don't think it's looking just at what goes on in the future. This is from now, is going to be able to search everything you've ever done. It's an evil, vile piece of legislation, and we have to not just close that down, but we support what the Labour Party said here about the investigation of the SIS and the GCSB, and we need to see that New Zealand starts from scratch. We do not need surveillance of this country to support the US empire and what they're doing around the world. We need it to be in the interest of the people of New Zealand. Kia ora koutou.
I heard the speakers talk about how they pass laws and they never seem to go back on those laws. They only keep on expanding powers. I had the horrible thought that actually the first demonstration I went on against the expansion of the powers of the Security Intelligence Service was in 1977. And there have been dozens and dozens of laws continually expanding those powers. But what this law does, it's a qualitative expansion in the spying abilities, spying powers over New Zealanders, because it's a completely non-discriminatory access to all of your information, and they create a picture of your life. It includes your work life, it includes your love life, it includes your friends, it includes whether your opinions. They can access it all, they can store it all, and they can use it as and when they want to. This is an extraordinarily dangerous, radical increase, a qualitative increase in those powers. And it's an awful aspect of it that this outfit, this Waihopai outfit and the GCSB that uses that Waihopai station to follow the calls, to follow the data, to follow the emails, that this is part of an international conspiracy effectively. That even the Prime Minister when it was set up, David Longley, said he didn't know what it was doing until Nikki Hagar wrote a book about it after he left office. That is no excuse. We know what they do. Nikki Hagar's written his book. They collect this information, they share it with their 5 partners, with the United States, with Canada, with Australia, with the United Kingdom. And everybody who's contacted, every communication overseas, the spying is done as a network to spy on people who are opposing what these governments do around the world. And they have used 9/11 to radically expand their powers as well around the world to go after people, and including the horror of the drone strikes that we've talked about before, including the kidnapping of people off the streets of different countries and taking them to places where they can torture them. This is not a network that we should be part of. We have found out because of the brave work of Private Bradley Manning, the GI in the United States, who exposed the horrors being committed around the world. We have found out because of the work of Edward Snowden. And I'm going to ask you all after this to join me in a march down to the place where this empire is represented, down to the US consulate at the bottom of Queen Street. We need a march. We need to let off steam. We need to chant. We need to give that message. We need to declare our solidarity with Bradley Manning and Snowden and say, you are the true heroes. You are the representatives of the people of the world who want to expose what is happening and bring an end to this injustice that's been committed against them. We want them free. We want Snowden free. We want him able to travel around the world. We want him able to get his asylum wherever he can get it. We want him to be able to avoid being hunted down by those spy agencies. And he needs the world's people to have that right around him. He needs the world people to be on his side. And we need to send that message to the United States Consulate.
All right, kia ora whānau. We're here on behalf of Rainbow Project Media in Aotea Square with a concerned New Zealander. Kia ora, Ryan. Why are you here today for?
This is very important, it affects everybody. It's not just a Māori Pākehā thing anymore. It's a, New Zealand citizen, Aotearoa, so it's about getting involved, I'm thinking about my mokopuna and all of that, what they had to inherit, so...
What do you think that the grassroots people can do to get behind this?
I think really just be aware of what's happening, and it'll affect you in your homes. You can't get away with it sitting on your couch watching it all happen. You've got to get out there and make it happen, You can't just sit around doing nothing, You've got to get out there, and if you don't get out there, you've got these people out here, they all feel the same way. They all feel the same way, and I'm happy that John Keys is getting exposed on this, because he is anti-Kiwi, man, anti-Aotearoa.
Do you think he's just a puppet for those behind the curtain, so to speak?
I think it's his excuse to sell his soul and get the money, his payout, by wrecking the country that he's supposed to be working for, Puppet? No, he's got a choice. He's got a choice to do it. He could say no, but no, he's not saying no. He's saying he's going for it. He wants to save his own soul and get away with what he's doing.
What do you think about these other political parties that are here today that have come out and said that they're going to oppose it as well?
Oh yeah, I've been working with Mana and Labour and the Greens, so it's about people, It's not about the. There's enough to go around. There's enough to go around, and if we all pull our weight together, there's more of us, man.
Yep.
There's more of us.
Thank you, Ryan. Cheers, brother.